Okay. So let us do some chanting to calm down the mind. So chanting actually is a samatha practice. That's the purpose of doing chanting. So when we chant, if you know the Pali, that's the best. If you don't know the Pali, at least you know this is a Buddha Nusati, this is a Dhamma Nusati, and so on. So actually, there are four types of meditation. Let's say we talk about general meditation. General meditation is the meditation you can practice anytime, any place. So one of them is Buddha Nusati. Second one is Metta. Third one is Asubha and Marana Nusati. So we will start with Namo Tassa and we will do the Buddha Nusati. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagawa arahan samma sambuddho Vijacharana sampano sugato lokavidu Anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati satta deva manusana Buddho Bhagavati Swagato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Opanaiko Pachatang Veditabo Vinyohiti Supatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Ujupatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Nyayapatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Samicipatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Yadidam chatali purisa yugani atta purisa pugala. Esa bhagavato sawaka sangho ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo anjali karaneyo anuttaram punya ketam lokasati. Evam Buddham Sarantanam Dhamman Sangancha Bhikavo Bayang wa Chambitatam wa Loma Hamsona Hesati Etena Sajawajena Patutvam Ratana Tayam Etena Sajawajena Patutvam Ratana Tayam Etena Sajawajena Patutvam Ratanatayam. Thus, bhikkhu, in you who remember the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, fear, trembling, and terror will never arise. By this speech of truth, may the Triple Gem protect you. Okay, so this is calling the qualities of Buddha to protect us. And now we radiate loving kindness. Sabe sata sukita hontu, havera hontu, habya pacha hontu, aniga hontu, suki atanam pariharantu, dukkha muchantu. Yada lada sampatito mavigachantu kamasaka. Now Asubha. All these are general meditation that we can practice anytime. Ayam ko me kayo udam padatala, ado kesa mataka, tacho pariyanto, puram nanapakarasa asuchino, ati imas kaye, kesa loma naka danta tacho mamsa naru ati mijam wakam hadayam yakanam kilomakam pipakam papasam antam andagunam Udariyam tarisam matalukam. Pitam seham pupo lohitam sedo medo asu wasa kelo singanika lasika mutam. Ewa mayam me kayo udam tala ado kesamataka tacho pariyanto pura nana pakarasa asuchino. So this is 32 body parts. And we can chant about the Maranasati. The easiest one will be this one. Contemplate about the Anicca Dukkha Anatta, impermanence. Anicca vada sankhara upadavaya damino upachitva nirujjanti tesang upasamo samo sukho 3 times. Anicca vada sankhara upadavaya damino upachitva nirujjanti tesang upasamo sukho dukkha vada sankhara upadavaya damino upachitva nirujjanti tesang upasamo sukho dukkha vada sankhara upadavaya damino upachitva nirujjanti tesang upasamo sukho dukkha vada sankhara upadavaya damino upachitva nirujjanti tesang upasamo sukho anatta vada sankhara upadavaya damino upachitva nirujjanti tesang upasamo sukho anatta vada sankhara upadavaya damino upachitva nirujjanti tesang upasamo sukho. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, I'm not so good in chanting, but I try my best. Okay. All right, so I think today we don't have a lot of students, so it's good to go for discussion. So how many of you have read the text already? How many of you? Sharon? No. Okay. Thomas? No. Okay. You all never read. Elaine? No. Okay. So you are sitting for the teacher to open. After you listen, after that maybe one day you return everything to back to the teacher, right? Okay, I thought if you have read, so we can do some small discussion since we don't have a lot of people. Anybody read? Sister Wong? No, also.
Sorry, Sayaji, I have not, but I printed out.
So I think, okay, so you are the only one printed out.
So sorry. Was
Okay.
rushing to other assignment.
I think you're all so busy. Okay, now we want to know. Okay, previously when we studied about the Buddha's enlightenment and we see the Buddha teach about the middle path, all right? Now, middle path including the Noble Eightfold Path. So it's good to know because Noble Eightfold Path is the path, the way of practice for the end of suffering and to reach Nibbana, right? So I was looking for some sutta to share. So I thinking it's good to read some simple sutta, which is not so complicated like this. So yeah, and also we can see how the Buddha practiced before enlightenment as a unenlightened bodhisattva. Okay, remember when he decided to go to search for truth for a few years, and then the Mara was following him to see whether he had good thoughts or bad thoughts. But he say here, so the Buddha managed to control his thoughts. Now, according to this teaching, this is called the two thoughts. Actually, it's quite simple, but it's very interesting to see that as a person, as anybody, a meditator or in a lay life, we can set our thoughts like the Buddha. One way we know this is a bad thoughts, and one way is we call it another side is a good thoughts. Now, bad thought will be sensual desire, ill will, cruelty. And the opposite will be renunciation. Okay. So you have sensual desire. When you renounce it, it becomes the thoughts of renunciation. You have thought of evil, then if you renounce it, it will be the thought of non-evil. So if you have cruelty, the opposite will be non-cruelty. Okay. So the Buddha understand about this. And now, when he know this is a bad thoughts, so when he practice it, he need to know it has arisen in him, and it will lead to what? His own affliction, to the others' affliction, to the affliction of both, obstruct wisdom, causes difficulties, and leads away from nibbana. Okay, so this means that the Buddha understand the cause is the bad thoughts, and then the result will be affliction in himself, others. Affliction means suffering. If you have bad thoughts, like sensual desire, then it make your mind very restless. Then you want to buy this, buy that. So all this give suffering. So this called affliction here. And then like the thoughts of evil or cruelty is you will harm others. So it's affliction, suffering to others. And both. So main thing it obstruct the wisdom, causes difficulties, and leads away from nibbana. Okay. So when the thought arose, all right. Now later we will say in the noble effort path, the right effort, including abandon those thoughts, bad thoughts that arose. All right. So one way is that when it arises, you need to know, you need to abandon, you need to remove it and dig away. So we should follow the Buddha's way. So when evil and cruelty. Okay. Now, in many sutta, the Buddha give lots of simile. Okay. So this one simile you find here. Okay. I think Thomas, you can read these two paragraphs. Yes. Yeah, up to from here to here to the end. Yes.
Just as just as in the last month of the rainy season, in the autumn, when the crops thicken, a cowherd would guard his cows by constantly tapping and poking them on this side and that with a stick to check and curb them. Why is that? Because he sees that he could be flogged, imprisoned, fined, or blamed if he let them stray into the crops. So too, I saw, in unwholesome states of danger, degradation, and defilement, and in wholesome states, the blessing of renunciation, the aspect of cleansing. As I abided thus, diligent, ardent, and resolute, a thought of renunciation arose in me. I understood thus, this thought of renunciation has arisen in me. This does not lead to my own affliction, to others' affliction, or to the affliction of both. It aids wisdom, does not cause difficulties, and leads to nibbana. if I think and ponder upon this thought, even for a night, even for a day, even for a night and day, I see nothing to fear from it. But with excessive thinking and pondering, I might tire my body. And when the body is tired, the mind becomes strained. And when the mind is strained, it is far from concentration.
Okay, thank you. All right. So at first, the Buddha was, even as a bodhisattva, he understand the unwholesome thoughts, unwholesome states. There is a danger and defilement. Then after that, he moved his mind to the wholesome states, means the wholesome thoughts like renunciation and so on. All right. So he understand when the thoughts, renunciation arise, so nothing to fear, right? But even nothing to fear when he thinking too much. Yes, sometimes when we think about good thoughts, it also can make us tired. The mind is strained, all right? So sometimes when we think about bad thoughts, our mind also tired. When we think about good thoughts, our mind also tired. Why is it? Because when you have good thoughts, your mind is keep on very active, or maybe you want to help people, it's also good, but your mind will thinking, oh, how to do this, how to do that. It make your mind tired, right? So body and mind also be tired. So he needs to make the mind quiet internally. So this is talking about concentration. So on the wisdom class yesterday, we talked about concentration. So there's the Buddha trying to have concentration here, right? So because when he constrain it, so why? What's the purpose? Because he does not want the mind to be strained or tired. So the purpose of concentration, or we say the benefits of concentration, is it can quiet the mind and you feel more calm and peaceful. Okay. So this means that from unwholesome thoughts, you can see the Buddha's teaching is very logic, right? The Buddha tell you first you need to aware of unwholesome thoughts, the sensual desire, the evil, okay, sensual desire, evil, and another one will be okay, cruelty, right? So you need to aware of bad thoughts, sensual desire, evil, and cruelty. And after that, you need to know the result because they lead to suffering, affliction, and they make you away from Nibbana. Okay, and you need to move away. So also with the ill will and cruelty. So you need to know good thoughts, like the renunciation and so on. But even good thoughts will make yourself tired. So you need to go for concentration. All right, that's why the Buddha say. Okay, now there's in many sutta, there's also a simile here. Okay. Uh okay, Wong, Sister Wong, before you leave at 8:30, you can read this one.
Yeah, thank you, Sayaji. Simile. Just as in the last month of the hot season, when all the crops have been brought inside the villages, a cowherd would guard his cows while staying at the root of a tree or out in the open, since he needs only to be mindful that the cows are there. So too, there was need for me only to be mindful that those states were there. Tireless energy was aroused in me, and unremitting mindfulness was established. My body was tranquil and untroubled, my mind concentrated and unified.
Okay. So here is the simile is given here is like when the crops have been bought inside the villages. So means that the job has been done. This means that the simile is like the unwholesome state has been guarded. Okay, and he just need to like the cowherd just need to guard the cows. So he no need to work so hard already. So if you can abandon the unwholesome states, so for the good wholesome state, you just need to be more mindful. Okay, so there's a simile here, right? So, but the first one, of course, you need to make sure your job is done. Like, the crops have to be brought inside the villages. That's the thing. Now, from here, this sutta is talk about first jhana and so on. Okay, so like we mentioned this one in the Visuddhimagga, you can see it's always the one. You must reduce the hindrances. That is a sensual desires, sensual pleasures, and so on, and away the mind from the unwholesome states. So this is a criteria. Remove the hindrances first, and then you go for first jhana. And then finally, the Buddha attained enlightenment by he say like this. Okay. And then he get reduce, banish the ignorance through knowledge. That means that at that time the Buddha become Arahant. Arahant means the fourth level. Because the Buddha, when he practice, he get first level of enlightenment, then subsequently second level, third level, and fourth level become Arahant. Arahant means somebody who has no mental defilements, and he becomes Sammasambuddha. Right? And so on. Okay. Now, this simile, we can skip it. You can read yourself. All right. Now, okay. Now, the fourth path. Okay. So, in Dhamma, we have right path and wrong path. So, the fourth path is the term for wrong Eightfold path. I think you all remember in the Abhidhamma class, we already say there's a wrong view. Wrong view is like wrong view on the self, or wrong view believe there's no karma, and about life is impermanence and so on. So we have wrong view, wrong intention, wrong speech, action, wrong livelihood, wrong effort. And even though here put wrong mindfulness, actually mindfulness in Abhidhamma will never wrong, because mindfulness is always kusala. So that's why in Sutta, it explained in one way, but in Abhidhamma, it said specifically, mindfulness can only be right, never have wrong mindfulness. Okay, and wrong concentration is possible. Right? Okay, now, what is the right path? Safe path, that is a Noble Eightfold Path. Okay, so this sutta finish, and down there, another sutta will tell you what is the Noble Eightfold Path. All right. Then the Buddha said, this is a stock phrase. Stock phrase means in many sutta, the Buddha will say this again. What should be done for his disciples out of compassion by a teacher who seeks their welfare and has compassion for them? That I have done for you, bhikkhus. There are these roots of trees, these empty hearts, meditate, bhikkhus. Do not delay, or else you will regret it later. This is our instruction to you. This is what the Buddha, the Blessed One, said. The bhikkhu was satisfied and delighted in Buddha's words. Okay, you can see the sutta is talking more on the right view. Now, even though at first it's talking about right thoughts and wrong thoughts, but here the Buddha summarized it with the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay, so and it didn't tell about how does the monk practice. Okay, so it didn't tell us, because some of the sutta when you read, it didn't say the method or how. So it just assuming the bhikkhu, they listen to this sutta, they start to contemplate the mind. Right? Because when your mind have right thought or wrong thought, you need to be aware of it. You cannot just let the mind have always bad thoughts, sensual desire, evil, or cruelty, because all these are bringing suffering to you. Okay, I think we still have time. Now we go for another sutta. Okay, this sutta I find it also from the internet. You can click it later. Okay, now these suttas explain clearly what is the Noble Eightfold Path. So these two suttas are very simple, easy to understand. Okay, Sharon, you can read up to the up to the right speech. Sharon, yes.
Thank you, Sayadaw. At Savatthi, bhikkhus, I will teach you the Noble Eightfold Path, and I will analyze it for you. Listen to that and attend closely. I will speak. Yes, Venerable Sir, those bhikkhus replied. The Blessed One said this. And what, bhikkhus, is the Noble Eightfold Path? Right view, right concentration. And what, bhikkhus, is right view? Knowledge of suffering, knowledge of the origin of suffering, knowledge of the cessation of suffering, knowledge of the way leading to the cessation of suffering. This is called right view. And what, bhikkhus, is right intention? Intention of renunciation, intention of non-ill will, intention of harmlessness or non-cruelty, This is called right intention. And what bhikkhus is right speech? Abstinence from false speech, abstinence from divisive speech, abstinence from harsh speech, abstinence from idle chatter. This is called right speech.
Okay. So now, right view is same view. Why this? Okay. So I ask, right? Angie Ng, do you know what it is, right view?
Four Noble Truth.
Okay, good. All right. So this is talking about Four Noble Truth. Now, you know, Four Noble Truth, the first is suffering. Suffering means that we already said many times, suffering, the Buddha said, in brief, the five aggregates are suffering, right? So you have to contemplate your nama rupa. Okay, so this one. So this is we call it five aggregates or your nama rupa. So you have to contemplate your nama rupa in order to get this knowledge of suffering. So origin of suffering. What is origin of suffering? Carrier, do you know what is origin of suffering?
Sorry, I don't know.
Okay. Is craving. Okay. Tanha. All right. Because due to craving, there will be rebirth. Due to rebirth, there will be aging, suffering, pain, association, and so on. Okay, so this one. And what is cessation of suffering? Sim, do you know what is cessation of suffering?
No craving. Stop craving.
Okay, stop craving. What is stop craving?
It means we have to practice so that we don't have what do you call it? Craving for desire, needs, or whatsoever.
Okay. So yes, we need to stop the craving. So that is actually here it means nibbana. Okay. All right. All right. So now, and this is the one that leading to the way of suffering. So what it is, Thomas? What is the way
It
leading
is
to?
the knowledge of the Noble Eightfold Path leading to liberation.
Okay, yes, okay. Now, when we look at it, yes, we can contemplate our five aggregates. Yes, we can contemplate our craving. It's possible. But here, Nibbana, we cannot know it. But we can know that just a theory that is an end of suffering. Besides end of suffering, Nibbana is also cessation of craving, right? So once you be able to reduce your craving, you'll find peaceful, more peaceful. So Nibbana actually we call it ultimate peace and happiness. So if you be able to cease a little bit of your craving, then you will be little bit more happy, right? Okay. So the more you let go your craving, then you get more peace. Like for example, if last time maybe you want to buy a car or buy a house, if there's no desire to buy a car, no house, then you don't need to work so hard. All right. Of course, we need to work to earn some money, but no need to because a lot of people they spend lots of time acquire the things, then they spend it, then they go and acquire the things. So forever their mind is keep on looking for new stuff and so on. Right? So here, which one we can practice? Yes, we can practice the knowledge of suffering, contemplate on namarupa. We can understand craving, we can let go of craving, and then we can understand that nibbana is the ultimate base of happiness by cessation or craving. And we can start to practice the Noble Eightfold Path, which is this sutta, all right? Noble Eightfold Path. This sutta is called Magga Vibhanga Sutta. All right? Okay, now, just now the earlier sutta is talking about this one, right? this color, sorry. So the earlier sutta is talking about this under right intention. Sometimes we call it samma sankappa. Sometimes we call it intention or we call it right thought, right? So instead of the word intention, you can translate as thought. So it's a thought of renunciation, thought of non-evil, thought of harmlessness or non-cruelty. So there are three of them. So if you have this, then you have the right thought or right intention. Okay, so Noble Eightfold Path. First one is right view on Four Noble Truths. Second one is right thought or right intention. Is about renunciation, letting go of sensual desire, letting go of evil, and letting go of harmfulness. All right. And right speech. Okay. So right speech, right action, right livelihood. These three we call three extended with virati. Okay. Subang, you can read these three.
Thank you, Saji.
Mm.
And what bhikkhus is right speech? Abstinence from false speech, abstinence from divisive speech, abstinence from harsh speech, abstinence from idle chatter. This is called right speech. And what bhikkhus is right action? Abstinence from the destruction of life, abstinence from the taking what is not given, abstinence from sexual misconduct. This is right action. And what bhikkhus is right livelihood? Here, a noble disciple, having abandoned a wrong mode of livelihood, earns his living by a right livelihood, and this is called right livelihood.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now, this one is we can practice it. It's very easy. So the best way to practice in meditation center is always noble silence. Because when you keep noble silence, you don't need to talk so much. So it's very easy to observe right speech. In our house, in worldly life, try to extend from false speech means telling lies. Like divisive speech means a speech that try to divide the relationship between two persons. Okay, and harsh speech like abusive words and so on. And this one is talking. We call it unprofitable talk that have no benefits at all. All right, and action. If you look at this, right action is similar to what? Okay, what is this? Anybody can recognize what is this? How about Sister Yok Heng? What do you think is this one?
This one is five precepts.
Sorry?
Five precepts.
Cannot hear you?
5 precepts.
Yes, okay. So 5 precepts, yeah. So if you be able to observe 5 precepts, so you consider fulfill on this one, right? So killing or harming animals, beings, so stealing, and then the sexual misconduct, right? So this is you can practice. So normally if you want to observe right speech in meditation, observe noble silence. If you want to have a right action, observe the 5 precepts. Okay. Now, livelihood. Okay. So what is livelihood? Okay. Livelihood means that how many of you remember still I think Sharon, okay? Do you remember what is the wrong livelihood, Sharon?
Wrong livelihood that causes harm to others, like
For example?
killing animals or
Okay.
selling weapons.
Weapons, we call it the what butchery,
Butchering.
then what trading weapons, and what else? Forget. Butchery, slavery. Okay, slavery means
slavery.
trading.
Yes,
then what butcher? How to say butchering?
CHERING.
ING. Okay, another one is a weapon, poison. Okay, drugs. Okay, and last one, there's another one I think. Any more? Can remember? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Okay. Right. So this one, if we don't do this, is okay. So it's a right livelihood. Actually, livelihood means you need to earn some money, right? But as long as what you do don't harm or injure others. Of course, when you go for buy things, then the saleskeeper always tell you they never raise, they don't raise so much of their price. But it's actually they most of the time they are not telling truth because they have to raise their price in order to cover their rental shop, their land. They have to pay the workers. They need to raise out the price, you know. Sometimes they just tell you they only raise little bit only. But maybe it's a $1 thing, they will sell $5. But as long as it's not harming others, okay, it's not serious harming. All right. Now, right effort. This is interesting. This is really, you need more effort to do this, right? First one, this one is a little bit long, but this is, we call it in Bali, we have this one, we call it Sama Padana. Sama Padana. Okay. Right exertion. There are 4. So, so on the unwholesome side, you have 2. Okay, so this unwholesome. So on the wholesome side, you got 2, right? So altogether, there are 4. So this is actually, you can think about yourself, all right? So if you have something evil, unwholesome, said not arisen, right? Not arisen. So you need to make sure it's not never arise. So if it already arisen, so you need to abandon it. All right. So these 2 are on the unwholesome. So you can say 2 is on unwholesome and 2 is to do with wholesome. So altogether there are 4, right? So if wholesome not arise, you need to make sure it arise. Like for example, if your bojanga not arise, so you need to make sure arise. For the arisen one, you need to maintain, you need to increase, you need to fulfill it. All right. So there are 2 to do with wholesome and 2 to do with unwholesome. So this one is you can practice in your life and also in meditation. All right. For example, in meditation, if you have sensual desire, you need to, since it already arisen, you need to abandon the sensual desire. So if it not arisen, so you need to stop it so it will not arise. So if you have something like if you are not good in chanting, you make sure you are good in chanting like this. Okay. So arise the unarisen one and so on. And if you are good in chanting, you need to maintain it so you understand more about the chanting. If you are good in Pali, at least you try to understand the meaning in the Pali and so on. Okay. So this is on the wholesome. Wholesome, unwholesome. Now, right mindfulness. Okay. Now, this one. So anybody recognize what is this one? Carrie? Who is this iPhone? Yeah. Okay, Carrie, yes. Do you know what it is?
Yes. Sorry, I'm not familiar.
Okay. So anybody familiar with this?
I think this is Satipatthana Sutta. No?
Yes, yes. So body, feeling, mind, and this is a Dhamma. So right mindfulness here refer to the practice of 4 Satipatthana. Foundation of mindfulness, all right? So you can see the Noble Eightfold Path actually only 8 of them, but actually it covers lots of Dhamma, lots of teaching of the Buddha. So even like Satipatthana, it can, if we want to expand on this one, if we want to talk about this one, it can take many days, all right? So Satipatthana. And what is right concentration? Now, right concentration in many sutta, the Buddha explained as first to fourth jhana. So you got first jhana, second jhana, all the way to fourth jhana. So we already mentioned fourth jhana, first to fourth jhana yesterday. So anyway, if you look at the sutta, this is a very standard phrase you find in all the sutta that mention about jhana. You're talking about first, you must remove from the sensual desire, remove an unwholesome state, then you dwell in the first jhana. Then after that, you need to get rid of the vitaka and vichara, all right, yesterday. So after that, get rid of the piti, rapture, joy. Then get rid of the sukha. So you can see one by one, get rid of the vitaka, vichara, then piti, then sukha, and so on. Then go for fourth jhana. That including is called including the purification of mindfulness of by equanimity. So this is if you want to practice fully the Noble Eightfold Path, then right concentration here means jhana. Right? Okay, now how to practice this one? Okay, even though it's theory, but if you look at it, it's actually something that we can practice, right? So you can contemplate the suffering in the is somebody want to ask question? Okay. All right. Anyway, okay, right view means you need to practice, contemplate the five aggregates, your own five aggregates in order to get the right view. And right intention means to make sure your mind is with renunciation. Make sure the mind is non-evil and non-cruelty. Okay, just now I received a question about what is this one. Okay, now we call it the these thoughts. Like today we say three kind of bad thoughts. Thoughts on karma, sensual pleasure, vyapada, hatred, vihimsa, harming others. So good thoughts will be renunciation. Okay. So, and then this is a abhyapada means non-evil. So on the loving kindness, and non-cruelty means on compassion. All right. So just now the question is this one hatred or evil, and is it similar or not similar with harming others? All right. So harming others is you call it more active, but evil may be just a little bit more passive. So it's a little bit different between this evil and harming others. All right. So in terms of good one, metta and karuna actually quite same, but metta is a kind thoughts for all things or everybody. Karuna is taking the sufferer more on focus on the people who are in sick or animals that need more loving kindness. There's one question on by Sharon. All right, she asks. Sharon asks, in daily practice, when an unwholesome thoughts arises, do we just alter the thoughts and replace it good thoughts? How does one generate desire for wholesome thoughts? Okay, now in vipassana practice, when there are a few ways to deal with thoughts. Okay, let's say like just now, if you follow the Buddha's teaching just now, so you need to move your thoughts from unwholesome, move it to wholesome. So when unwholesome thoughts come in your daily life, you need to observe it and understand it brings bad result. Since you're aware that it brings bad result, so you can give up easily. Then you move your mind to wholesome because you understand that wholesome give good result. All right. So it's just a shift from bad one to good one. That's in terms of daily practice. But in vipassana, so when any thoughts come, you don't label it as good or bad. Because the moment you label it, your mind follow it. Okay? So you shouldn't label. So any thoughts come, you just not thinking. Then you go back to your main object. Main object can be breathing or abdomen rising, falling, or 4 great elements, right? Okay, so the teaching here today is for you to aware in your daily life when you have unwholesome thoughts come, then you should understand it brings suffering, affliction to yourself and others. Then you should change the mind to wholesome. So that's why sometimes we use the word replace your thoughts. Replace the bad thoughts with good thoughts. Okay? Replace the thoughts of the sensual desire, evil, cruelty, to renunciation, to metta and karuna. All right? So this one you can practice in your daily life, not just in meditation. Because having this kind of good thoughts is actually right thoughts. Right thoughts is the second factor in the noble Eightfold Path, right? So of course you need to have right view, because if you don't have right view, how can you have good thoughts? So you must contemplate the four. The right view means talking about the Four Noble Truth, the truth of suffering, origin of suffering, the cessation of suffering, nibbana, and then the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay, so we need to think about suffering in life, like the Buddha. Previous sutta, what did the Buddha say? Why he left from the palace? He became ascetic because he saw we are subject to birth, we are subject to sickness, we are subject to aging. Remember the first sutta? The first sutta is actually very powerful because it teaches how did the Bodhisattva contemplate about the human life. And this was why he, in a way you can say, he ran away from the palace, escaped from palace to look for the truth. He want to look for amata. Amata means deathless dharma. He want to get out of this samsara. Of course, now we are considered healthy. We don't feel much suffering in our life, right? But wait until you sick with cancer or whatever, then you understand why the Buddha say we are subject to sickness, we are subject to aging, we are subject to death, and so on. All right. Okay, I think there's enough teaching. So I actually happy to share the sutta with you all. Okay, because you all can contemplate it in your own way. So we just do half an hour of meditation together. Okay, then we go for practice. I think most of you know how to practice, like I said, Elaine. So Elaine, we need more time before we go. But basically, you already learned some metta, right? So you can practice metta. So for others people, you can choose either metta or vipassana, up to you all. Okay. So I think most of you have know how to practice. Okay. So we do half an hour practice, then we share the merits later. All right.